Hello everyone, I am Kantar and I am a big fan of Battlefield 1. So that's why I have decided to make a few videos about this game. There are many things that could be discussed about this game, so I have decided to start with my favorite ones. I'm talking about tanks. Armored steel monsters that appeared at fields of battle firstly in history during First World War. And there are several different types of these combat vehicles represented in the game. But today I only take a look at light French tank Reno FT-17. This war machine was not the first French tank, but it has the most revolutionary design of its time. FT-17 was the first serial tank that has armament with fully rotating turret. That tank has layout that became standard for most modern tanks. The crew compartment was located in front part of the tank. The engine compartment was at the back, and the main armament was in the rotating turret at the central part of the tank. During the war, French industry manufactured more than 3,000 of these tanks. And of course there were a few different modifications of this tank. The first modification called Charmy Trials, and it was the most numerous. Almost 60% of all FT-17 were at this modification. Those combat vehicles used 8mm Hotchkiss submachine gun as the main weapon. Next modification called Char Cannon. Those type of FT-17 was equipped with 37mm short barrel cannon, called Pluto SA-18. Almost the third part of all FT-17 were manufactured with this armament. Next modification called FT-17BC. As main weapon, this modification used Blockhaus Schneider 75mm short barrel self-propelled gun. Also there were a few other different modifications of FT-17. For example, an armed command tank with radio station. As in the real world, in-game we also have a few different modifications of FT-17. The first one is close support version, armed with 37mm short barrel cannon, just like Char Cannon modification, which I had been talking about before. The main gun of this tank can switch between two different types of ammunitions. The first one is high explosive projectile that can be used effectively against enemy armor. The second type of ammunition is canister shell, which is more effective against enemy infantry. It can instantly kill any enemy infantry with one shot, even elite classes like flamethrower trooper or sentinel. But it works only in a short range, because damage from shot decreases with distance. Also, canister shells useless against enemy tanks, but still damages light vehicles, like motorcycles and armored cars. By shot with this type of ammunition we can destroy an armored object, for example wood fences. Although for destroying more tough enemy covers we require high explosive shells, that can destroy armor, walls and make craters in the ground. But to be honest, it's not very effective against heavy enemy tanks. For example, to destroy British Mark V we required at least 6 direct hits, but usually even more, cause we are not considering that enemy tank can repair and fight back. So in encounter like this our best option will be trying to flank enemy armor and attack it from behind, where enemy cannons cannot reach us. In this case enemy tanks like Mark V and A7V will have disadvantage, because they don't have any fully rotating cannons. But for us it still takes time to destroy it. The problem is that the ammunition of FT-17 contains only 4 shots. After we shoot it, it takes some time to restore it. And as I had said before, in case of encounter we required more than 4 shots. If you won't be so lucky enough to flank enemy tank behind and avoid its main cannon fire, you could have a problem. Because FT-17 has quite light armor and could be destroyed with 3 or 4 shots. So just remember, when you are driving FT-17 your main advantage is fully rotating cannon, which can fire at any direction. So try to maneuver and stay out of enemy's cannon's reach at all costs. Also try to use some cover that you could find. And when you fight enemy tanks, try not to forget about enemy's infantry. Those guys can make a lot of troubles to you if came close enough with anti-tank weapon. If your tank takes some damage, you can repair it in 2 ways. First way is to get outside from tank and repair it with wrench, and hope that it won't be hijacked in process. The second way is to repair tank from inside. In this case you require more time to restore hit points of your combat vehicle. Every cycle of repairing takes approximately 7 seconds and restores 32% of hit points. But repair cycle could be interrupted if your tank takes some damage in the process. Also, every tank in Battlefield 1 has two abilities. In case of close support version we have track repair and supply drop. The first ability of track repair could be used only in case when our tank was immobilized. If you try to use this ability at another time, it will be nothing to happen. But if your tank has disabled engine or broken tracks, this ability will immediately restore it and give your vehicles 15% of hit points. After using of this ability, it will take 15 seconds to restore. The other ability, called Supply Drop, will make friendly infantry life much more easier. After using this ability, will deploy two crates. The first one with medical supplies and the second one with ammunition. Those crates are the same, that has medic and support troop classes. After supply and drop, ability takes 10 seconds to restore, but after the second use of this ability, previous supply crates will disappear. The next modification of FT-17, called Flanker version. Visually this tank quite similar to FT-17 Charmite Trials, which I had been talking about before, but it has different type of weapon. It uses 20mm flak cannon. This modification is quite effective against both infantry and vehicles. The ammunition clip of these weapons contain 15 rounds. The rate of fire is 5 shots per second. Total amount of ammunition is unlimited, but after each clip it takes 2 seconds to reload. Also, as in case with previous modification, we have two fire modes. The first one is the shell, that is effective against enemy armor, but in comparison with second fire mode it makes less damage to enemy's infantry. In this fire mode, shells also can do splash damage in a small radius, so it could be used to take out enemy's infantry, which hiding behind the corner. To destroy enemy Mark V with these shells we require 4 or 5 clips, and to kill enemy infantry we need only 3 direct hits. This weapon is most effective on small and medium ranges. The second fire mode is kind of another variation of canister shell, but with lower damage and higher rate of fire in comparison with previous modification of FT-17's cannon. The damage in this fire mode is high enough to kill enemy troop with 2 shells and destroy enemy armored vehicles with 2 clips. But enemy's tanks don't take any damage in this fire mode. First ability of Flanker version is Track Repair, which I had been talking about before when we discussed previous modification. In case of this modification, ability works the same way. It restores 15% of hit points and mobility, in case if your vehicles cannot move. The second skill, called Anti-Tank Mines. This ability places 3 anti-tank explosive mines beneath the tank. Those mines are similar to those ones which Assault Trooper has. 2 of these things are strong enough to destroy every type of enemy basic tanks. The main spec doesn't set at the same time, but has small time intervals between placing of each mine. So that, if you use this ability when you don't move, you will have compact group of mines. They can destroy every enemy armor. Otherwise, if your tank had been moving while mine sets were in progress, you would have chain of mines. In that case, mines will cover a larger area, but won't kill enemy's tank with single hit. Also remember that you couldn't have more than 6 mines at once. Next FT-17 is a howitzer version. It has 75mm cannon as main weapon and heavy submachine gun as secondary weapon. In beta version of Battlefield 1 this tank has fully rotating turret. It makes the tank extremely powerful. That's why in the final version of the game developers have decided to make this cannon without rotating option. Now it has only small angle of fire in front of the tank. That makes this modification of FT-17 more vulnerable. As for me, the best way to use this tank is to find covered position and suppress enemy forces from there. 75mm main cannon is powerful enough to destroy enemy Mark V with 3 shots, but projectiles are quite heavy and has steep line of flight, so it could be kind of tricky to aim for long distances. The machine gun of FT-17 is effective against enemy's infantry. It has unlimited ammunition but can be overheated. The first ability of this FT-17's version is called Emergency Repair. It could be used at any time to restore 30% of tank hit points and repair broken engine or tracks. After this, ability needs 30 seconds to cool down. In my opinion, this is the most useful tank skill of all. It could save your combat vehicles in problem situations. The second ability, called Smoke Screen. Using of ability will set smoke screen on your position for 15 seconds. Enemy can't track you through the smoke, so you can use it for repairing or relocating. Cooldown of this skill is 30 seconds. That's all what I want to tell you about this tank. Kantar was here. Press like and subscribe if you like this video. Also, good luck and have a nice day.